Hello and welcome! Silrace here to talk about World of Warcraft Classic. Specifically I want to talk about, is World of Warcraft Classic a dead end for Blizzard Entertainment? Couple things before I get to that point, however, I want to mention two things. Background footage is there for your distraction, should be quite fitting for talking about World of Warcraft Classic, even if the character level I am doing it as is not. And also, my voice sounds a little different. I'm using my headset microphone instead of a proper desktop microphone. That's because I didn't want to wait another 2 weeks to give you folks content. It's gonna take about 2 weeks until I have my setup, you know, in such a fashion that I can actually really record stuff. Anyway, let's get to the actual talking bit. So, is World of Warcraft Classic a dead end? Is it a corner where Blizzard Entertainment just runs into that corner and they can go nowhere anymore from that corner? Because all of us know where World of Warcraft Vanilla actually went. It went into the Burning Crusade expansion. And then on into the other expansions. Now, what if World of Warcraft Classic comes out and Blizzard Entertainment folks, awesome guys there, ladies and everybody else, realize that we can't actually make any upgrades to this anymore. We cannot make any expansions. Of course, they could do the whole progression server system, where you add a Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, so on, and then restart the whole thing eventually. But I discussed that in a previous video already, you can find that on my channel. What I'm talking about here is, from my point of view, as I am looking at World of Warcraft Classic, is that people want the vanilla experience back. They want the classic World of Warcraft experience back. Even though my view of classic is something different, but just using the word itself. However, they want the vanilla experience back. However, where can Blizzard actually go from there? There is no creativity available for that. It's basically just a dead end. You run into the World of Warcraft vanilla experience and it can't go anywhere, because if they start adding expansions to that, which are different than what we have already in the current iteration of World of Warcraft. Let's say they add an expansion which takes vanilla into a different direction. Suddenly you are splitting World of Warcraft player base into two different timelines, into two different expansion story setups entirely. And that is not good for the actual current World of Warcraft we have. Now, is this a way for Blizzard Entertainment to abandon current World of Warcraft and go into a completely different direction? Yes, that could be a possibility, but then imagine all the hours and, you know, stuff already put into current development. So I don't think that will happen. I just don't believe that will happen. So, from that point of view, I see the World of Warcraft Vanilla, the World of Warcraft Classic project being just a purely dead end, where, alright, you folks asked for a vanilla World of Warcraft, here it is, now play around in it, but you can't go anywhere, because we have a World of Warcraft already, you know, which is now heading into Battle for Azeroth, and who knows what the next expansion is, and so on. Probably folks were starting to work on that, no, but they ain't saying a word yet. And we have this vanilla thing where basically there is no creativity there, because the World of Warcraft story has already itself progressed past vanilla. So you cannot really add to that story more than maybe toss in an occasional quest line or something else which wasn't in the actual original vanilla, or might not even be in the current base game. But then again, if you do that, you also kind of have to add those to the current base game. You cannot just put them in there and not have them in the current actual version of World of Warcraft, because that would make no bloody sense whatsoever. So in the end, I think it from gameplay development, from the fact that when you create something like this, you want to let your creative freedom to also go in directions like the massive differences in art direction, in world direction you see between the World of Warcraft expansion, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, Pandaria, everything else, they are all quite different in theme, in style and so on, even though the core idea is usually that, well, Azeroth is about to be destroyed and you folks get to, you know, fight the bad guys who are doing that. For most of them anyway. But the point is, you can't do that from World of Warcraft Classic. Because it's just supposed to be the vanilla experience, and that's it. So it's evolutionary dead end for game development, from my point of view. I honestly believe that is bad, because as much as people want the vanilla experience back, which frankly I don't understand personally, going back to the old games, yeah, sure, fine, but eventually people get bored of the old stuff and they want new things, and like I have been talking here, can't exactly add those to the vanilla, to the classic World of Warcraft. Unless they come up with some very interesting way to do it that I haven't yet figured out, and if you have any ideas, please post them in the comment section below. Let me know, like, I wanna be proven wrong in this. But there is just no way I can see the classic experience evolving out of there. Especially because I very much do not believe that they want to branch World of Warcraft out into two separate versions of World of Warcraft and split the player base, because already there is some struggle and so on to get some instance groups and such going, which might be even worse problem if you split the player base into two different timelines. Now, yeah, I'm repeating myself a little bit here, but I'm trying to get the point across in a, well, for sure manner that everybody understands what the heck I am on about. Now, do I like the idea of vanilla World of Warcraft being returned classic? I have nothing against it. I mean, it's entirely up to Blizzard to decide. Do they want to do it or do they not want to do it? As a long-term idea, however, I see it as a very likely a failure. Because yes, you can have these like unofficial servers which have been running, which were kind of popular and so on, but they have never been as popular as the main World of Warcraft itself has been. And just because you add the vanilla experience back, people who do not have nostalgia of the vanilla days probably are not going to go back there to play that, and as such, I do not think those will be all that popular for an extended period of time. Whereas majority of Blizzard's products, Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone, World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2, so on, seem to have always been aimed for a long period of enjoyment over time, with expansions and other changes and tweaks to keep the game moving on, and also not becoming stale. And that is the issue, right? If you give people a one single game with no changes to it, it will eventually have a very small player base, because everybody else is like, well, nothing is changing, nothing new is coming to us, and so why am I still here? Let's try this new thing out, which is actually bringing changes and so forth. And we will see how that turns out. I still personally only see it as a corner, as an evolutionary dead end, where you just run into the corner and the only way to go is backwards, because that's where you came from. But I'm hoping to be proven wrong. And like I mentioned, if you have ideas, please post them in the comment section below. We can all get those out to the awesome Blizzard Entertainment folks. Maybe they can do something about it. Maybe they can give us something awesome with World of Warcraft Classic. Hopefully. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, for listening. And if you didn't enjoy my talk, hopefully you enjoyed some, well, background footage at least.